Welcome back to ZNGP Today. Marco Rigamonti, Marc Márquez's crew chief, has pushed back against suggestions that Ducati's factory garage is hiding setup information from Pecco Bagnaia. With Marquez enjoying a career-best run while Bagnaia struggles, Rigamonti says the team's strength comes from collaboration and information sharing, even when results make that message harder to hear. Grand Prix legend Giacomo Agostini explained why he chose not to offer Pecco Bagnaia public advice during a difficult 2025. Rather than add words to the mix, Agostini said he prefers the champion to remain calm and free from extra pressure, a quietly supportive stance that recognizes form, feeling and timing matter more than a public pep talk. Carlo Pernat says World Superbike star Toprak Razgatlioglu may have jumped the gun by signing for Pramac Yamaha for 2026. The veteran manager argues 2026 looks like a transitional season for Yamaha, new V4 hardware looming and tire supplier changes coming in 2027, so Pernat thinks Toprak might have been better off delaying his MotoGP arrival by a year. Massimo Bartolini, Yamaha's new technical chief, has laid out the scale of the challenge facing Iwata as the Japanese manufacturer switches from its long-standing inline layout to a V4 and prepares for the rule changes coming in 2027. Bartolini described the V4 project's progress, the trade-off between power and reliability, and why the mandatory redesign for 850 cubic centimeters machines could be both a risk and a rare opportunity, provided Yamaha gets the fundamentals right. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Rigamonti was blunt. Ducati's progress is the product of collective effort and open data exchange between riders and engineers. He rejected the idea of secret setups being hoarded in the pit box, instead stressing that shared feedback is how the factory reached the top. "We, as a team, always work together and we help each other," Marco Rigamonti speak. In a high-pressure environment where internal rivalry is inevitable, Rigamonti's line is an explicit attempt to calm rumors and underline the technical philosophy inside Bologna's factory. Rigamonti argued the GP25's development has relied on contributions from across the garage. Riders' differing styles and the variations in feedback are what let engineers compile a robust picture of how the bike behaves, and that pooled knowledge is the basis for incremental upgrades. He pointed out that when Ducati was less competitive it was because such collaborative improvement wasn't yet realized. Now it is, and they are reaping the benefits. For a manufacturer, more consistent data from multiple riders accelerates setup solutions and reduces blind spots. The season's split narrative, Marquez dominating while Bagnaia fights for form, has fueled speculation. Rigamonti was sympathetic but practical. Rivalry exists, but it should remain on track. He warned against interpreting performance gaps as evidence of mistrust or hidden information. If your rival is your teammate, there will be rivalry on the track, but nothing more. The distinction matters. Technical fixes must be honest assessments, not scapegoating. Rigamonti's remarks attempt to refocus the conversation on solutions. Rigamonti acknowledged the GP25 has been a complicated package for some, a fact visible in pre-season discomfort and mixed early results. But he emphasized those are engineering issues, not interpersonal ones. Differences in rider adaptation don't imply deliberate withholding of data. When a bike has a steep learning curve, it magnifies rider-to-rider differences, which in turn makes transparent information flow more, not less, important. With Marquez and Bagnaia contracted together for 2026, Rigamonti framed the pair as co-authors of Ducati's next steps. He said the team will continue to rely on combined rider input to shape the following year's package, turning current adversity into future strength. He reminded listeners that everyone in the pit, including Bagnaia's engineers, must work as much as possible to help one another. The commitment to shared development matters more than ever. Two factory riders aligned on direction can dramatically shorten development cycles. Marco Rigamonti's defense is as much about optics as engineering. By insisting Ducati's edge comes from shared data and collective effort, he aims to diffuse whispers and put the spotlight back on technical work. With a complex GP25 and two high-profile riders in the same box, transparency, real or advertised, will be a crucial ingredient in turning mixed results into sustained performance. Agostini was asked whether he had approached Bagnaia after a trying run of results. He answered plainly, no, and for a reason. The Italian master believes that sometimes silence and space are the better intervention. He said it's better for Bagnaia to be calm and without added pressure, and that in difficult moments silence can help more than well-meant advice. For a figure of Agostini's stature, restraint is itself a form of counsel, a signal that the rider's own process should play out without outside noise. Agostini framed Bagnaia's slump as human and cyclical. Athletes endure low phases, and recovery often follows. His hope is pragmatic, that time and the right environment will allow Bagnaia to reset. In life sometimes you have a very negative moment. After maybe it is better, I hope. That view acknowledges the psychological component of form. Confidence returns unevenly and often out of sight, not via headlines. The background is familiar. Bagnaia has battled front-end feeling and inconsistent form on the GP25, producing results far below his championship pedigree. Agostini noted the season's difficulty but stopped short of public criticism, instead urging patience. When a two-time champion struggles, the temptation is to diagnose loudly. Agostini's choice was the opposite, a reminder that technical fixes must pair with composure. Agostini also reflected on the broader spectacle. Marc Márquez's dominance has shaped the championship narrative, yet Agostini stressed he still wants competitive battles, for the show and the fans. He urged spectators to back the riders rather than boo, recalling past moments when national loyalties complicated the welcome for rivals. He noted Bagnaia's importance to Italian fans and said he hopes Bagnaia can return to fight Marquez for the entertainment of the sport. A champion's slump hurts storylines. Agostini's call is for patience so the drama can be restored properly. Despite wild speculation in the media linking Bagnaia with other seats, the facts remain. He is contracted with Ducati for 2026 alongside Marquez, and the factory has publicly backed a technical push to restore his feeling. Agostini's tone matched that institutional support, not alarm, but expectation that the team and rider will work through it. When legend, team, and rider align on patience and process, the most likely outcome is a methodical recovery rather than a rash roster move. Agostini's refusal to stage a public pep talk is a small, dignified act. It signals confidence in the athlete's inner resources and in the team's capacity to find technical answers. In a season dominated by one rider, his quiet counsel, "Let him be calm," is a reminder that great careers ebb and flow, and sometimes the best help is the freedom to rebuild away from the microphone. Pernat told GP1 he would have recommended Razgatlioglu postpone the move to MotoGP. His logic: the package Toprak will inherit next year may already be near the end of its development cycle, or worse, be an interim machine ahead of the real V4 program. Personally, I would have advised Razgatlioglu to postpone the arrival by a year. For a rider swapping series and tire regimes, 1 year of extra preparation and the chance to join on fresher kit can be decisive. Razgatlioglu moves into MotoGP for the final season on Michelin rubber. From 2027 the championship will switch to Pirelli tires, the Turk already mastered in World SBK. Pernat highlighted the odd timing. Toprak must adapt first to Michelin MotoGP tires for 1 season, then to Pirelli's on every bike the following year. That double handover, tires now, new tires next year, complicates a rookie's learning curve and may blunt the usual adaptation advantages. Pernat flagged Yamaha's big bet: the factory's V4 prototype will race at Misano. He warned Yamaha has arguably shifted focus to the long-term V4 program, potentially leaving incremental development of the current inline M1 lagging, a situation that could leave a newcomer racing an obsolete platform. he suggested Yamaha is leaving aside the development of the current engine. If the factory's short-term priorities pivot to the V4, satellite entries and newcomers could feel the consequences in competitiveness. Pernat pointed to Fabio Quartararo's visible frustration as a canary in the coal mine. If Yamaha's current bike isn't being developed aggressively, factory riders may lose motivation, and that's hardly a helpful environment for a rookie joining the marque. He observed Quartararo seems to have lost his motivation. A demotivated lead rider and shifting factory priorities reduce the margin for error that a rookie usually enjoys. The counterargument is obvious. MotoGP is the pinnacle, and the sooner a world-class talent arrives, the sooner he learns. Pernat's warning is strategic. Toprak may gain experience but risks spending his rookie year on a stopgap package before the V4 and tire switch reset the grid. It's a high-reward gamble, early MotoGP exposure, versus a potentially costly timing mismatch, old bike plus one-off Michelin year plus V4 transition next. Pernat's verdict is pragmatic and protective. Toprak's arrival is exciting, but the calendar and Yamaha's roadmap make 2026 a tricky bridge year. Whether Pramac and Toprak get the guarantees he needs will determine if the move is a masterstroke or a lesson learned the hard way. Yamaha's move from inline engines to AV4 represents a major philosophical and technical pivot. Bartolini admitted the change is ambitious and fraught with normal project problems, but insisted the team is following a clear roadmap. We have had difficulties, but in my opinion no more than those normal in any project. We are more or less in line with the roadmap we had set ourselves. Turning a historic design tradition on its head is not taken lightly. The V4's potential gains must be balanced against the engineering pain of adoption. Bartolini was candid that maximum power remains Yamaha's Achilles heel. While the engine concept is being pushed forward, improving peak output without undermining reliability is the central technical dilemma. For Yamaha, closing the straight-line power deficit will require not just raw horsepower but confidence that the engine can sustain it across a race distance. With a 75mm bore limit for 2027 means that virtually every engine element must be reconsidered, not a simple parts swap but wholesale redesign. Bartolini framed this as a forced reset for all manufacturers. The engine will have a similar base to the one we are using this year, but it will have to be completely revised. It's not like you change some parts and then use it. In terms of power, 15% less is a reasonable calculation. When regulations force a blank sheet, teams that adapt fastest can gain disproportionate advantage, and Yamaha hopes to exploit that reset. The arrival of Pirelli as MotoGP's sole tire supplier is a major unknown. Bartolini said it both worries him and represents a chance to close gaps with rivals, but stressed real answers will only come from testing. Yes, it worries me a lot. The change is a challenge and at the same time an opportunity to try to close the gap with those in front. The fact that everyone has to redo their engine also forces those with a good engine to get back into the game. Tire behavior reshapes setup logic. Adapting quickly to Pirelli could flip competitive hierarchies, or expose teams that read tire data poorly. Bartolini highlighted how MotoGP's margins have tightened and complexity has risen. Tenths and hundredths now carry far greater consequences than they did decades ago. That amplifies the need for precise engineer-rider communication. Massimo Bartolini's interview paints Yamaha's present as a mixture of technological upheaval and strategic opportunity. The V4 project, the 2027 displacement reset, and the tire supplier change together require painstaking engineering, rapid learning, and close rider-engineer collaboration. If Yamaha can translate the disruption into disciplined development, the rule changes that force everyone to rebuild may become the very moment Iwata needs to regain lost ground. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!